First contact fallout. Captain Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the UED Hyperion, Earth's most advanced warship, watching the holographic displays with a practiced eye. The vast emptiness of space stretched beyond the viewports, broken only by the distant twinkle of stars. After 15 years of service in the United Earth Defense Force, she thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual signal," Lieutenant Park announced from the communications station. "It doesn't match any known frequency patterns in our database." Chen straightened her uniform and approached the station. Origin: the TOV-CD system, approximately 12 light-years from our position. "Is it a distress call?" Park adjusted several parameters on his console. "Difficult to say. The pattern suggests urgency, but the encoding is unlike anything I've seen before." He paused. "Wait. There's a mathematical sequence embedded in the signal. It's universal constants. Someone's trying to communicate." Chen's mind raced through the possibilities. Humanity had encountered only 2 other spacefaring civilizations in the century since developing faster-than-light travel. Both meetings had been peaceful, if somewhat distant affairs. "Alert Admiral Harrington at Earth Central," she ordered. "Then set a course for TOV-CD, maximum speed." "Captain," her XO, Commander Ramirez, stepped closer and lowered his voice. "Protocols state we should wait for reinforcements before investigating unknown signals." Chen met his gaze. "If someone's in trouble out there, every minute counts. We're the closest UED vessel. We'll approach with caution, but we're going." The journey to TOV-CD took 3 days at the Hyperion's top speed. As they dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system, the sensor officer gasped. "Captain, you need to see this." The main display showed the TOV-CD system, but something was wrong. The third planet, which should have been a vibrant blue-green world similar to Earth, was surrounded by a swarm of objects. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of them. "Magnify," Chen ordered. The image zoomed in to reveal ships. Alien vessels of various sizes, most of them damaged. They were clustered around the planet, as if seeking refuge. "Life signs. Confirmed, Captain. Multiple species detected. But there's something else." The sensor officer looked up, her face pale. "The star itself is showing unusual activity. Energy levels are fluctuating." Before Chen could respond, Park called out, "We're being hailed. It's coming from the largest vessel in the fleet." On screen, the holographic display shifted to show a humanoid figure. It had luminescent silver-blue skin and large, almond-shaped eyes that contained swirling patterns like galaxies. Despite its alien appearance, the creature's expression was unmistakably one of desperation. "I am Sentinel Taylor of the Luminar Collective." It spoke in perfectly accented English, surprising everyone on the bridge. "You must flee this system immediately. They are coming." Chen stepped forward. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Defense Vessel Hyperion." "Who is coming?" "The Voidborn." The alien's voice carried an undercurrent of fear. "They consume stars and all life within their reach. TOV-CD is already dying. We are refugees from 17 systems they have already taken." As if to punctuate Taylor's warning, a proximity alert blared. The tactical officer's hands flew over his console. Unknown vessels dropping out of FTL at the edge of the system. Hundreds of them. The main display split to show the new arrivals. Unlike the refugee ships, these vessels were uniform in design. Obsidian black, with shapes that seemed to hurt the human eye when viewed directly. They moved with unnatural precision, spreading out to encircle the system. "The Voidborn fleet," Taylor said grimly. "We have perhaps one of your hours before they begin the harvesting." Chen didn't hesitate. "Tactical, power up all weapon systems. Communications, send everything we're seeing to Earth Central with a Priority 1 alert. Then open a channel to all refugee vessels." When the channel was open, Chen spoke with calm authority. "This is Captain Chen. The Hyperion will provide cover while you evacuate through the system's outer jump point. Form up behind us and prepare to follow our lead." Taylor's expression showed surprise. "Captain, you do not understand. The Voidborn fleet outnumbers you hundreds to one. Your vessel, impressive as it is, cannot hope to." "We're not planning to defeat them," Chen interrupted. "Just delay them long enough for your people to escape. Now, shall we begin?" The bridge crew looked at her with a mixture of fear and determination. Chen met each of their gazes in turn, drawing strength from their trust. XO, coordinate the evacuation route. Tactical, prepare the NAVC guided fusion torpedoes. We're going to create a series of synchronized detonations to mask the refugee fleets, creating a sense of depth that defied physics. "They're scanning us," the sensor officer reported. "Our shields are holding. But, Captain, they seem to be adapting their scans to probe for weaknesses." Chen nodded. "Let's give them something to think about." "Fire the first torpedo spread." The Hyperion shuddered as 6 fusion torpedoes launched, streaming toward predetermined coordinates. They detonated simultaneously, creating a beautiful but deadly curtain of energy that temporarily blinded sensors on both sides. Under this cover, the first group of refugee ships began to move, following the escape vector the Hyperion had calculated. The plan was working. Then Chen saw it. A single Voidborn ship, smaller than the others, slipping through the disruption field. It was on a direct course for the Hyperion. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered, but the alien vessel moved with impossible speed, matching their course change perfectly. "It's locked onto us," the tactical officer warned. "Energy buildup detected. They're preparing to fire. All power to forward shields." The Voidborn weapon discharge, not energy or projectiles, but what appeared to be a stream of pure darkness that twisted and writhed as it crossed the space between ships. When it struck the Hyperion's shields, alarms blared throughout the vessel. "Shield integrity down to 38% from a single hit," the tactical officer reported, voice tight with tension. Chen gripped the edge of her command console. "Return fire, all forward batteries." The Hyperion's plasma cannons responded, lancing out with brilliant blue-white energy. The beams struck the Voidborn vessel, and for a moment, appeared to be ineffective. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien ship's surface rippled, and it veered away. They didn't expect resistance, Chen realized aloud. Tactical analysis of their reaction. "They seem sensitive to our specific plasma frequency, Captain. The damage was minimal, but they definitely felt it." Chen's mind raced. Adjust all weapons to that exact frequency and prepare for another volley. As the Hyperion re-engaged the Voidborn scout, more refugee ships continued their escape. On the tactical display, Chen could see the majority of the Voidborn fleet accelerating toward their position, but they were still minutes away. "Sentinel Taylor is hailing us again," Park announced. Taylor's face appeared, now showing an emotion that might have been the Luminar equivalent of awe. "Your tactics are unexpected, Captain Chen. The Voidborn rarely encounter effective resistance during first contact." "Glad we could surprise them," Chen replied, even as the ship rocked from another glancing hit. "What's the status of your evacuation?" 60% of our fleet has reached the jump point. We need perhaps 15 more of your minutes." Chen checked the tactical display again. The main Voidborn fleet would arrive before then. "We'll buy you that time, Sentinel, but I need information. Anything that might help us fight them more effectively." Taylor hesitated, then nodded. "The Voidborn are not truly alive as we understand it. They exist partially in another dimension. Energy transitions hurt them, rapid changes from one state to another." Chen turned to her tactical officer. "Did you get that? Set our torpedoes to detonate in cascading sequences, maximum energy variance between detonations." "Aye, Captain." The next minutes were a desperate dance as the Hyperion maneuvered between the approaching Voidborn fleet and the escaping refugees. Each torpedo spread bought precious seconds, creating chaotic energy patterns that seemed to confuse the alien vessels. The Hyperion took hits. Several systems were offline, and casualties were mounting in the lower decks, but they held their position. Last refugee ships approaching the jump point, Ramirez reported, his uniform stained with smoke from a console fire they'd just extinguished. The main Voidborn fleet will be in weapons range in 30 seconds, the tactical officer added. Chen made her decision. Plot a collision course with the Lid Voidborn vessel. Prepare to overload the drive core on my command. Stunned silence fell over the bridge. Captain, Ramirez started, that would. I know exactly what it would do, XO. Chen's voice was steady. But if these Voidborn are as dangerous as Taylor says, someone needs to get warning back to Earth. The refugees have that information. Before Ramirez could respond, Park called out, Captain, 3 UED battle cruisers just dropped out of FTL behind us. It's Admiral Harrington's quick reaction force. Relief washed over Chen. The tactical situation shifted instantly from suicide mission to fighting retreat. Belay the collision course, she ordered. Coordinate with the Admiral's ships and prepare to fall back to the jump point. As the reinforcements engaged the Voidborn fleet, the Hyperion limped toward the escape route. The last of the refugee ships had made it through, including Taylor's command vessel. Admiral Harrington's voice came through the comm system. Quite a situation you found yourself in, Captain Chen. Fall back to Earth space. We'll cover your retreat and be right behind you. The Hyperion made the jump, energy crackling around the hull as it tore through spacetime. When they emerged at the designated rally point, Taylor's ship was waiting. Captain Chen, the Luminar greeted her. Your actions today were extraordinary. In 300 cycles, no species has ever successfully delayed a Voidborn fleet during first contact. Chen managed a tired smile. Just doing our job, Sentinel. But this isn't over, is it? No. Taylor's expression grew solemn. The Voidborn now know of your existence. They will come for your star next. Chen straightened despite her exhaustion. Then we'll be ready for them. As the UED reinforcements began arriving through the jump point, Chen issued orders to escort the refugee fleet to Earth. Humanity had just been thrust into a war they didn't start, against an enemy they barely understood, but they wouldn't face it alone. Looking at Taylor's ship alongside her own, Chen felt an unexpected spark of hope. Perhaps together. Alliance of necessity. The Grand Chamber of Earth Central Command buzzed with tense voices. Representatives from every major Earth nation and colony world had gathered for this unprecedented meeting. At the center of the chamber stood Captain Maya Chen, still wearing her battle-scarred uniform, alongside Sentinel Taylor and 3 other Luminar representatives. Admiral Harrington finished his presentation on the Ta City encounter with a grim assessment. Based on the data recovered from the Hyperion and the information provided by the Luminar refugees, we estimate we have less than 3 months before the Voidborn complete their harvesting of the Ta City system and potentially move toward Sol. The Earth Security Council director, a stern woman named Vasiliev, leaned forward. And we're certain this isn't an elaborate deception. We know nothing about these Luminar beyond what they've told us. Chen stepped forward. Director, I witnessed the Voidborn attack firsthand. Whatever the Luminar's intentions, the threat is real. Taylor, standing nearly 7 feet tall with that unsettling luminescent skin, addressed the assembly. We understand your suspicion. In your position, the Luminar would be equally cautious. But the evidence of the Voidborn is in your own sensor records. The Luminar touched a control on the bracelet at his wrist, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a time-lapse recording of Ta City's sun over the past week, based on remote monitoring buoys left in the system. The star was visibly dimming, with dark tendrils spreading across its surface like cancer. This is the harvesting, Taylor explained. The Voidborn extract energy directly from stars, accelerating their decay by thousands of years in a matter of weeks. When they finish, the star collapses and all life in the system perishes. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. How many systems have they taken? Asked the representative from Mars Colony. 17 that we know of, replied one of the other Luminar. The collective has been tracking their expansion for nearly 30 cycles, what you would call about 50 Earth years. Their pattern is consistent. They target inhabited systems with specific stellar characteristics. And our sun meets these characteristics, Chen added. Admiral Harrington nodded. Based on the Luminar data, Sol is a prime target. What defense do you propose? Vassiliev asked, her attention now fully focused. Taylor's galaxy-like eyes seemed to swirl faster. Alone, neither of our civilizations can stand against them. The Luminar are primarily scientists and explorers. Our weapons technology is limited, but we have extensive knowledge of the Voidborn from observing their patterns. And humanity has proven unusually effective in combating them, added another Luminar. Your plasma-based weapons cause them distress when most energy weapons we've tried have failed. Chen interjected. The Hyperion sensors recorded the Voidborn's reaction to our weapons. Something about the frequency modulation of our plasma cannons disrupted their dimensional stability. A new voice entered the conversation. That's because you accidentally hit their resonant frequency. All eyes turned to the gray-haired man who had spoken from the science section of the chamber. Dr. Elias Ward, Earth's leading quantum physicist, approached the central area uninvited. Dr. Ward, Admiral Harrington acknowledged with a nod. You have insight on this matter. I've been analyzing the Hyperion's sensor data for the past 72 hours, Ward explained, adjusting his glasses. The Voidborn ships exist partially in what we've theorized as quantum state beta. Essentially, they're half in our universe and half in another dimensional plane. Taylor's posture changed, showing clear interest. You've identified the threshold state. Our scientists have been working on this theory for decades. Ward nodded, seemingly unsurprised to be discussing quantum physics with an alien. The plasma frequency that damaged them created a disruption at exactly the quantum boundary between dimensions. It forced their ships to fully materialize in our space, making them vulnerable. Can we weaponize this? Vassiliev asked bluntly. Potentially, Ward replied. But more importantly, I believe we can create a shield against their energy-draining capabilities, a quantum frequency barrier that would prevent them from maintaining their trans-dimensional state in our vicinity. Admiral Harrington looked between Ward and Taylor. How quickly could such a system be developed? With our combined knowledge, Taylor responded, perhaps 2 of your months. But an alarm cut through the chamber, causing everyone to tense. Admiral Harrington pressed his comm implant. Report. The voice of the fleet operations officer replied, loud enough for all to hear. Sir, long-range sensors have detected multiple FTL signatures entering the Proxima Centauri system. The pattern matches the Voidborn vessels from Captain Chen's encounter. Chen felt her blood run cold. Proxima Centauri was home to humanity's first extrasolar colony, with over 2 million inhabitants. They're moving faster than we predicted, Taylor said, his normally composed voice tight with concern. Harrington turned to the Earth Security Council. We need an immediate decision. Do we stand with the Luminar against this threat? Vassiliev looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of her fellow council members. One by one, they nodded. The Security Council approves an emergency alliance with the Luminar Collective, she announced. Admiral Harrington, you are authorized to deploy the fleet to Proxima Centauri immediately. Chen stepped forward. The Hyperion is still undergoing repairs, but we can be ready in 12 hours. No, Captain, Harrington countered. I need you here, working with Dr. Ward and the Luminar scientists on the quantum shield technology. This will be our best chance for long-term survival. Chen wanted to protest, but knew he was right. Tactical knowledge of the Voidborn was now as valuable as combat experience. Yes, sir. As the chamber emptied, with military personnel rushing to their stations and diplomats hurrying to draft the formal alliance documents, Chen found herself standing with Dr. Ward and Taylor. I've never seen the council move so quickly, Ward remarked. Fear is a powerful motivator, Chen replied. Taylor's expression was difficult to read, but his voice carried a note of something like respect. "Among my people, there is a saying, the void tests all light. Your species shines brighter than we expected, Captain Chen." "Let's hope it's bright enough," she answered. Over the next 72 hours, humanity learned the true meaning of war against the Voidborn. The battle at Proxima Centauri was a desperate holding action. The UED fleet, comprised of 27 capital ships and their support vessels, managed to evacuate 80% of the colony before the Voidborn overwhelmed their defenses. From the quantum shield development facility beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Chen watched the battle telemetry with growing horror. 7 UED ships lost in the first engagement, 5 more critically damaged. The Voidborn adapted quickly to the plasma frequency that had been effective at Ta Ceti, shifting their dimensional resonance to avoid disruption. "They're learning," Dr. Ward observed grimly, watching the same data, "faster than we anticipated." Chen turned away from the display to focus on the experimental quantum shield generator taking shape in the center of the vast underground laboratory. Luminar and human scientists worked side by side, their earlier suspicions forgotten in the face of urgent necessity. "How much longer?" she asked Ward. "The prototype should be ready for testing tomorrow. If it works, we can begin installing the technology on the remaining fleet vessels within a week." Chen nodded, but her thoughts were still with the battle. "And our weapons. The modulation algorithms are promising. Instead of using a fixed frequency, we're developing a system that continuously shifts through the quantum spectrum, making it harder for them to adapt." Taylor approached, his silver-blue skin seeming dimmer than usual, a sign of fatigue among the Luminar, Chen had learned. "Captain Chen, we've received a transmission from one of our scout ships. They've made contact with another species fleeing the Voidborn, the Meridians. Their home system was one of the first to fall." "Are they coming here?" Chen asked. "Yes. Their remaining fleet carries approximately 300,000 survivors. They're scientists and engineers, like us, but with expertise in gravitational manipulation technology that could be valuable to our cause." Chen felt a spark of hope. Each new ally brought different knowledge, different capabilities. Together, they might stand a chance. That spark was quickly tempered as Admiral Harrington's face appeared on the main communication screen. His expression told Chen everything before he spoke a word. "Proxima Centauri has fallen," he stated flatly. "The evacuation ships are en route to Earth with the survivors. Our remaining fleet vessels are conducting a fighting retreat." "Casualties?" Chen asked, dreading the answer. 13 ships lost. 8 more severely damaged." Harrington's voice wavered slightly. "Commander Jackson didn't make it. He stayed behind with the Resolute to cover the final evacuation transports." Chen closed her eyes briefly. Jackson had been her instructor at the academy. A good man. A friend. "The Voidborn?" she asked when she could trust her voice again. "They've begun the harvesting process on Proxima's star. Once they've finished, we expect they'll move on to Sol." Harrington's expression hardened. "We need that shield technology, Captain. And we need it now." "Understood, sir." After the transmission ended, Chen found herself alone with Taylor. The Luminar regarded her with those unsettling galaxy eyes. "Your people fight with remarkable determination, even in the face of certain defeat," Taylor observed. "We're stubborn that way," Chen replied. "We don't like being told we can't win." The Luminar once believed peaceful cooperation was the answer to all conflicts, Taylor said. "We tried to communicate with the Voidborn when they first appeared in our territory. We lost 3 worlds before accepting that some threats cannot be reasoned with." Chen studied the alien's face. "And now? Now we understand that survival sometimes requires one to become what one fears." Taylor's gaze met hers directly. "The question is whether we can do so without losing ourselves in the process." Before Chen could respond, an alarm sounded from the testing chamber. Dr. Ward rushed past them, shouting instructions to his team. "The quantum resonance is destabilizing," someone called out. Chen and Taylor hurried after Ward, arriving just as the prototype shield generator began emitting a high-pitched whine. The air around it shimmered with distortion. "Shut it down," Ward ordered. "We can't. The feedback loop is self-sustaining." Taylor pushed forward. "The calibration is inverting. It's creating a quantum beacon instead of a shield." Chen understood immediately. "It will attract every void-born ship within detection range." Ward's face paled. "Evacuate the facility. Now." But Taylor moved toward the generator instead of away, pulling a device from his belt. "There may be another option." Without explanation, the Luminar attached the device to the generator and began manipulating controls that Chen couldn't comprehend. The high-pitched whine changed in tone, becoming deeper, resonating through Chen's bones. "What are you doing?" Ward demanded. "Converting the beacon," Taylor answered without looking up. "If we can't shut it down, we can change what it broadcasts." The air shimmered more intensely, and for a moment, Chen thought she could see something. In the distortion, shapes that hurt her eyes, whispers that bypassed her ears and spoke directly to her mind. Then, abruptly, everything stopped. The generator powered down, leaving only a faint smell of ozone. Taylor stepped back, his luminescent skin pulsing with what Chen had come to recognize as the Luminar equivalent of adrenaline. "What did you do?" she asked. "I used a Luminar phasic inverter to reverse the quantum signature," Taylor explained. "Instead of attracting the Voidborn, it should have confused them." Ward was already checking the readings. The signal propagated for approximately 6 seconds before shutdown, strong enough to reach the edge of the solar system. "Will they detect it?" Chen asked. "Yes," Taylor admitted, "but not as a beacon. More like static interference." Chen's comm unit chirped. It was Admiral Harrington again, but this time his expression held something she hadn't seen in days. "Hope. Captain, something's happened. Our long-range sensors are showing the Voidborn scout ships that were approaching Sol have changed course. They're moving away, regrouping with their main fleet at Proxima." Chen looked at Taylor, who seemed as surprised as she was. "Sir, I think we may have accidentally found another weapon in our arsenal. Stand by for a full report." As she ended the transmission, Chen turned to Taylor and Ward. "Let's figure out exactly what just happened and how we can use it." For the first time since the Voidborn appeared, they had done more than just delay the enemy. They had confused them, made them hesitate. It wasn't a victory, not yet, but it was a beginning. The Forge of War. The orbital shipyards above Earth pulsed with ceaseless activity. What would normally take months of construction was being accomplished in days as humanity raced against extinction. The accidental discovery from the quantum shield test had bought them precious time, but everyone knew it was merely a reprieve, not a solution. Captain Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the newly refitted UED Hyperion, watching as Luminar engineers installed the finalized quantum shield generators. The ship had been practically rebuilt from the inside out, incorporating both human and alien technology into something neither civilization could have created alone. "Impressive, isn't it?" Dr. Ward appeared beside her, his eyes reflecting the blue-white glow of the engineer's tools. 4 weeks ago, we barely understood the principles behind this technology. Now we're installing it on our entire fleet." Chen nodded. "Necessity is quite the motivator." She turned to face him. "How confident are you in the shields?" "Based on simulations, they should reduce the effectiveness of Voidborn weapons by approximately 70%. But," he hesitated, "but they haven't been tested in actual combat." Chen finished for him. "No, and there's no way to test them without engaging the enemy." Chen's comm unit chirped. "Captain Chen to the command center immediately. Priority Alpha." She exchanged a glance with Ward before they both hurried toward the ship's core. The command center had been redesigned to accommodate both human and Luminar crew members, with interfaces that could be adjusted for either species use. Admiral Harrington's hologram was already waiting when they arrived, alongside a real-time image of Sentinel Taylor. "We've made contact with the Meridian refugee fleet," Harrington announced without preamble. "They'll be arriving at the Jupiter waypoint in approximately 6 hours. But they're not alone. They're being pursued by a void-born hunting group." Chen frowned. "How many ships?" 12 vessels, mostly smaller classes. Nothing like the main fleet, but enough to overwhelm the Meridian defenses. Harrington's expression was grim but determined. "Captain, the Hyperion is the only ship with completed quantum shield installations. I need you to take a battle group to Jupiter and ensure the Meridians reach Earth safely." "How many ships can you give me?" Chen asked. 3 cruisers and their escort vessels. "Not ideal, but it's all we can spare right now." Taylor spoke up, his image shifting slightly as he moved. "I will join you, Captain Chen. My vessel's sensors are calibrated to track void-born dimensional shifts, which may provide tactical advantages." "Thank you, Sentinel." Chen turned back to Harrington. "We'll depart as soon as the shield installation is complete, Admiral." "There's one more thing," Harrington said. "The Meridians claim to have developed a new weapon based on their gravitational technology, something they believe can damage the void-born significantly. If true, it could be the breakthrough we need." Hope flickered in Chen's chest, but she'd learned to be cautious. "Let's get them here safely first, then we can evaluate their claims." "Agreed. Good hunting, Captain." As the hologram faded, Chen turned to her XO. "Commander Park, prepare the ship for immediate departure. Dr. Ward, how much longer until the shields are fully operational?" "Final calibrations will be complete in approximately 2 hours, Captain. You have 90 minutes." The Jupiter waypoint was humanity's outermost defense post, a cluster of sensor platforms and automated defense systems orbiting the massive gas giant. As the Hyperion's battle group dropped out of FTL at the designated coordinates, Shen immediately spotted the approaching Meridian fleet. Their ships were unlike anything she had seen before, organic-looking vessels with spiraling structures that seemed to flow rather than be constructed. Approximately 30 ships of varying sizes, many showing signs of damage and hasty repairs. "Incoming transmission from the Meridian flyship," Commander Park announced. On screen, the view screen shifted to show a being that looked like a living crystal formation. Its body was composed of interconnected geometric shapes that refracted light in mesmerizing patterns. When it spoke, its voice was harmonic, like multiple tones layered together. "I am Nexus Fran of the Meridian Confluence. We extend gratitude for your assistance, humans of Earth." Chen inclined her head respectfully. "I'm Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Defense. We're here to escort you safely to Earth. Our sensors indicate void-born pursuers approximately 3 hours behind your position." "Yes, they have hunted us across 17 light-years." The crystalline being shifted, its facets catching the light differently. "We believe they pursue us specifically because of what we carry." The weapon Admiral Harrington mentioned. "It is called the Gravity Forge. Not merely a weapon, but a means to alter the fundamental forces that the Voidborn exploit to maintain their trans-dimensional state." Before Chen could inquire further, the tactical officer called out, "Captain, multiple FTL signatures detected. The Voidborn have arrived earlier than predicted." Chen's mind raced. They must have accelerated when they detected our presence. "How many?" 16 vessels, Captain. 4 more than intelligence indicated." So much for the element of surprise. Chen turned back to the Meridian leader. "Nexus Fran, move your fleet behind us. We'll engage the Voidborn and create an opening for you to proceed to Earth." "Captain Chen." Taylor's voice came through a separate channel. "My sensors detect unusual activity among the Voidborn vessels. Their energy signatures are different from those we encountered previously." "Different how?" "They appear to be generating interference fields designed to counter our quantum shields." Chen felt her stomach drop. "They've adapted already." "Not completely," Taylor clarified. "But their pursuit of the Meridians has given them time to analyze the residual energy signatures from our earlier encounter." "Captain, Dr. Ward interjected, having insisted on joining the mission. If they're attempting to counter our shields, we can adjust the quantum resonance frequency in real time. It won't be as effective as the original design, but it should prevent total shield failure. Chen nodded. Do it. Tactical. Target the lead Voidborn vessel. All forward batteries. Maximum power. The Hyperion surged forward, its newly integrated weapon systems coming online. The quantum-enhanced plasma cannons fired, lancing out with blinding intensity. The lead Voidborn ship tried to shift partially out of normal space to avoid the attack, a tactic they'd used effectively in previous encounters. But the beam caught it mid-transition. The result was spectacular. The Voidborn vessel seemed to shudder between dimensions, its surface rippling as conflicting forces tore at its structure. Then, with a flash of impossible darkness, it exploded, not with fire, but with a reality-warping implosion.